What's up, you guys? Good evening. Welcome to the replay. It is Walona Jean-Pierre here. So glad to have you guys. Come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in. Today, we're going to be talking about what I promised you in the last scope. Flying monkeys. So come on in and invite your followers. Invite your followers and tell them to come on in. It's going to be super duper informative. So get your pen and paper. And it's going to be super duper funny. So get your gut ready to laugh. Welcome to the broadcast today. My name is Walona, and we are going to be talking briefly about flying monkeys. This is a broadcast to make people aware of narcissistic personality disorder and all things that it entails. And we have different segments on different characteristics, different behaviors, and things of that sort on how narcissist people work. And so today we'll be covering, like I said before, flying monkeys. So go ahead and invite your followers, give me some likes, and share the broadcast, please. We're going to get ready to dive in and talk about this. Well, flying monkeys. I know to some of you that may sound familiar. To some of you it may sound weird. Flying monkeys. Where in the world did that term come from? Well, if you are my age, which I won't quite tell you what that is yet, I'll let you guess, or older, or if you have a parent that just likes old school movies, you'll know what the Wizard of Oz is. So there was a scene on the Wizard of Oz where the wicked witch of the West, I think it was, because Glinda was the good witch of the East. Okay, so the wicked witch of the West would call in her flying monkeys to do her dirty work. And so that's where the term flying monkeys come from in relation to narcissistic personality disorder. Is kind of like the narcissist fan club. You know, they have their own fan club. The flying monkeys, the FM flying monkeys. So that's kind of a little bit of history on where the term came from. It's usually what happens with the narcissist is they use people to go out and do their bidding for them, to attack people, to attack you on their behalf. And so the narcissists, what they usually have done is they've recruited people or monkeys to be on their side against the targeted victim, which is you, in smear campaigns, which we talked about in the previous scope. And sometimes the narcissists will not attack you publicly, but they are privately telling carefully chosen people how bad of a person you are, and how evil that you are, and how mean you are to them, and how you've hurt them so badly. Just, you're a flat out awful person. Okay? You're very, very awful. So basically, that's usually what a flying monkey is. They choose people who will make a really, really easy target. And they also know who not to use as well. So they kind of avoid those people. What they usually do is gently infect poison. They don't make it obvious. You know, they don't want to seem like the bad guy. So they're going to pretty it up, and they're going to make themselves seem really sincere and innocent in doing this. But what they do is gently infect poison into these people against you with false stories of wrongdoing and abuse as if they are the victims that you did so wrong. The narc makes these stories so believable and emotionally intense that the flying monkey becomes enraged at you on the narc's behalf. They become angry that anyone could act in that way that the narc is describing. They are completely sold on the idea that this is the good guy. And it's usually, it's usually well-meaning friends or family, loved ones who they usually manipulate. It's kind of like a puppet show. It's kind of like a puppet show, and they're using these people to smear your name. So usually with narcissists, you'll hear a lot, no contact, no contact, no contact. Because what you want to do is go no contact with this person if you can. If you have children, that makes it a little bit more difficult, especially with small children. But if you can help it, you'll constantly hear people say go no contact, because that's the best way to rid yourself, to sever that relationship so that you can begin to heal. You don't want to keep that cycle going. And if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist for a long period of time, years, you'll know what I'm talking about, because it's really never going to change on their end. It's going to be the same 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10, 20 years down the line, unless the good Lord decides to save and deliver them. But you don't want to stick around for all that time to find out, because you're going to continue to be damaged, and you don't want that. So you'll hear people say, go no contact, go no contact. So if you've gone no contact, the narcissist uses the flying monkeys to maintain their illusion of power over you. The narcissists, they hire these people, they employ them, and use the third party so that they can attempt to continue to control and manipulate you. So that's usually what they do. The flying monkeys usually spread lies repeated to them. They do this believing they are supporting an innocent person. The lies don't come directly from the narcissist, so they can step back and act like that the attack is not coming from them. So you kind of really want to stay away. You know that you want to stay away from the narc. Hi, Jackie. How are you? You know that you want to stay away from the narcissist, but you definitely want to stay away from the flying monkey as well, because they don't realize that they're being used. They're usually well-meaning people who don't realize that they are being used. They have no idea. The narcissist encourages this, and the flying monkey is rewarded with the idea that they are protecting the narcissist or doing what is right. And they usually do it with praise, flattery, and attention from the narcissist. Flying monkeys don't typically have malicious intent, like I said. They are usually completely misled by the narcissist. And the narcissists are very proficient, they're very charismatic, and they believe that they're the victim. So they come off as very, very sincere. And it's very hard for most people to see through this. So you have to really, really, really keep an eye out for it. If you have no experience with this type of person or behavior, you don't think someone has a reason to lie and manipulate. So they usually believe them. They usually believe them, and they think, who would make up a story like that? And so, just backtracking a little bit, Jackie, we are talking about some of my previous scopes. I talk about narcissistic personality disorder and the effects that it has on being in a relationship with a person like that, and the cycle of toxicity in those types of relationships. And so on this scope, we're talking about flying monkeys, which are people that are used by a narcissist to smear your name and just, lie on you about certain things, and to get other people to turn against you. so that they can have somebody on their side. So, you know, like when you're in elementary school and you have a group of girls, and for whatever reason, one girl stops liking another girl, and it could be that she's jealous. It could be that she said something she don't like, whatever reason. And so the girl gets all the other friends to stop talking to that friend. I don't like her anymore, and I don't want you guys to talk to her anymore either. And so she succeeds. You know, a lot of them. I didn't know this type of thing existed until I was in a relationship with the person, and that this was used on me. So, but I mean, thinking back, like the situation that I'm describing as from when we were in school, it happens a lot. I mean, if you really kind of ponder on it, they're all around. And so back to what I was saying about the elementary school girls, the one girl uses the whole crew to turn against the one girl because she doesn't like her for whatever reason. It's childish behavior, very much so, and even more so dangerous in adults. In children, it's not so much, but with adults, it's very, very dangerous. And I say that because when you get people to turn against a person for whatever reason, they become so passionate about it that they feel like they're protecting that other person. They can become violent. They can strike out. They can attack the person. Police, you know, it's been situations where, you know, take for instance, you really have to have proof on something like that, because someone can accuse abuse allegations on you, child neglect, anything. And if you really just take a person's word for it, that can cause that person to be in a lot of danger. Exactly. There's more to lose as adults. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And so it's just a really, really, really dangerous, it's a dangerous tactic to use, from that perspective with the narcissist. And you have to really be strategic, as the person on the other side, because a lot of people want to react. They want to react to something like that, but you really can't. You really have to have discipline and willpower and understand that that tactic is being used against you, and you have to go what's called in the narcissist community as no contact. No contact with the narcissist and no contact with his flying monkeys as well. And that's really the only way you're going to win. I mean, when I say don't do nothing, I don't mean don't do nothing as in just sit back and let it happen. I mean, go into prayer and let God vindicate you. But actually, you can't disprove the lies at all, because when you try to, and I talked about this a lot in the previous scope, on the smear campaign, if you try to go and disprove the lies, then what's going to happen is you're going to start looking as crazy as the person is describing you. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to try to defend yourself, because that's when you're stepping on the enemy's territory, and they're going to pull you in and you're going to get beat down. You're going to get beat like you stole something when you go on their territory, on their turf. And you don't want to let them suck you into that at all, because once you've done that, they've pretty much won that battle, because you're always going to look crazy. You're always going to look like what they're describing, because when you're trying to explain yourself, emotion comes with that, and you start to look crazy. And so you don't want to prove the person right or look like you're proving the person right. And so it's just really a lot. What I usually try to tell people to do, exactly, you prove their point. You will prove their point. And it looks like to the other person that, you know, well, maybe there's some truth to this, you know, because the narcissist is so passionate and sincere about what they're saying. Now, I'm going to give you a few tips to know if you are being used by a narcissist. If you are being used as a flying monkey, there are a few tips that you should know. Number one, you're hearing a lot of negativity from the person, but not a lot of negativity from the other side. if you're what's called a codependent, and I'll talk about that in another scope, but if you're the person on the other side that's being attacked, and you know the situation you're in with a narcissist, you're going to do what's right. You're going to go no contact, and you're not going to respond. And so if you think you're a flying monkey and you think you're being used by the narcissist, you want to just kind of take a look and step back and say, you know, I'm hearing a lot of negativity from what this person is telling me, but I never hear anything from that person. That's going to be a big time clue for you, because you're being fed, you're being spoon fed all of these things, and you're believing this person, but what they're saying is not adding up, because the person is not responding like they say that you're going to respond. So that's one of the ways you'll know that you're being used as a flying monkey. Number 2 is if you're taking sides against someone who has taken sides against you before. An example would be the narcissist has used them before too. One time you were on that side of the narcissist, and now you are on that other side, and now that they're friends with you again, they're using you too to talk about the same person that they were talking about you to. And so you have to really be careful who you're talking to, and notice their conversation and who they're talking about. And so if you're around someone that's always targeting a particular person, you want to start to think, why are they constantly targeting this person? Why are they constantly attempting to plant bad seeds about them to me? It's something deeper there. It's definitely something deeper there. So you just want to kind of make sure of that. If you are in a situation where you either don't care about the end result, or you would have chosen a different way to go about it, but you're doing it to kind of make the narcissist happy, to hurt someone else, you may be being used by a narcissist. You may be a flying monkey. And so you just really want to be careful with these people, because they really don't care about anyone but themselves. And anytime that you go against anything that they say, they will dispose of you at any given moment, and you will be on the other side of whatever new flying monkeys that they get to come in on their behalf against you. You say, Jackie, you have to know if they're talking about them to you. Absolutely. And, you know, we see memes about that all the time. You know, we always see memes on Instagram that says, if your friend is talking about, what does it say? If your friend is talking about you to another friend, they're usually talking about you to them. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, this is not just in a significant relationship. This is friend relationships. This is co-workers. This is, I mean, just interpersonal relationships all around. And if you see something like that happening, you're usually being used. And not to say every situation is a situation where the person is a narcissist, but they just may have narcissist characteristics. But if you're around that person for an extended period of time and you start to see these characteristics more and more start to surface to the top, then you probably either want to start watching out or get out of there as soon as possible, because it's definitely probably going to be you next. And I'm just going to tell you a few things to avoid being used as a flying monkey. The best thing, very best thing you can do is to not take sides unless you were an eyewitness to the situation. You know, a lot of times as friends, close friends, you know, your best friend, you want to believe everything they say, but we as people have a tendency to not tell the full story because we want people to agree with us, but more so with narcissists because that's their full intent anyway. And so you just want to kind of not try to take sides when you hear a story, unless you are an eyewitness to the situation, like I said, or you know all the facts. You need to know all the facts. You need to get proof, especially if it's something serious like like I said before, a child abuse situation or something like that, because you don't want to accuse anyone of something and risk someone's life off of something that serious. In situations like that don't directly affect you, you probably shouldn't be involved anyway. And so I just want to end this scope by saying, like I said before, there's ways to have help. God helped me through it, and I didn't even know that he was helping me through it. But looking back in hindsight, reading scriptures, he was there with me the whole time. So I like to give scriptures at the end of these scopes just to kind of help people who is going through this, and things are starting to connect and puzzle pieces are starting to come together because you don't realize what in the heck you're going through. You're like, what is this? Like, I've never seen this type of behavior before. I've never felt like I've been going crazy before. You know, there's a name to what you're going through. And so I just want to let you know to be encouraged. And I'm going to give you Romans 12:9 in regards to narcissists and flying monkeys, because you, like I said before, you don't want to try to defend yourself, and you want to stay no contact with that person because you'll get sucked back into a cycle of toxicity. And if you've got out of it, you know what it's like to be in it, and you don't want to go back. So I'm going to give you Romans 12:19 that says, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. It is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Also, Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. So that has really, really, really gotten me through the situation that I was in. And the Lord has really vindicated me. There will be a book. There's a book in the making about the situation that I went through, and I pretty much did stay still even before, like I said, even before knowing the word of God in the situation. For some reason, I just didn't have a desire to respond. I didn't have a desire to defend myself anymore because I was exhausted of the situation. So said that's a hard one. So, oh gosh, I can't tell you that there wasn't times where I did defend myself, because there were times that I just had to let people know, you know, this is not what it is. And I ended up looking crazy, and I ended up validating everything that the person was saying about me until I learned to just shut my mouth and be quiet, because the truth will prevail. The truth will prevail. It has for me, and it has done it over and over and over and over again. And so now I feel like I have the formula. God has given me the formula to just let him fight my battles in that regard. And so I would want to tell you to just meditate on these scriptures. One more before I go. I'm going to give you Romans 8:31. It says, if God be for us, who can be against us? Who? Nobody. So just meditate on that word, because God will vindicate you. You do not have to defend yourself. You only need to be still, because God is for you. He is maintaining you, and he is sustaining you in that situation, because he has for me. So that's the end of this scope. Thank you guys for joining. And if you join in the middle of the broadcast, please watch the replay. And I will see you next time. Bye.